How's it going, guys? We are here with another episode of Stock versus Not. Today we are in our last Nissan, and it's a special episode because this is also a subscriber requested video. Shout out to Dave, who was that C4 Corvette car that we did quite some time ago. But today we have his request for the R31 Skyline that was just recently added to the Gran Turismo 7. Is this Gran Turismo 7? Yeah, whatever. Gran Turismo 7, the latest update, which included this R31 Skyline GTS-R. This is the 1987 car. Let's hop into the specs real quick. This is the RB20 DET, so that is a 2.0 liter inline six, and this is a GTS-R, which is going to be a front engine rear wheel drive. It's not going to be all wheel drive like a GTR. So this is a proper quote unquote sports car, if you will. What do we have here with performance? 446 performance points, 207 horsepower, 180 foot-pounds of torque. It weighs just a little under 3,000 pounds, and the front to rear weight balance is 52-48%. So not a bad car for something that was coming in on the late 80s, early 90s. 200 horsepower at that time was a healthy number for a car that is supposed to be performance oriented, let's be honest, especially with the turbocharger. So we are given comfort soft tires, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to fare for us. Let's hop into the leaderboard, see what this is going to go against. Looks like it's going to be gunning against the Crown Athlete, since we're looking at the comfort softs. It is underpowered, so don't know if it's going to keep up with that. It does, however, kind of give off a little bit of these GT86 vibes when it comes to its weight and its power output. So maybe we're going to be looking at a 104 for this car. We shall see. SFR was definitely way below that. I don't think we're going to do a 105. We possibly might, but you know, we'll see. Let's try to get a 1 minute flat. We'll probably be aiming more towards that 104, 105 area for this car. And this being a 1987 vehicle, you know what that means? All the visibility in the world coming from this cabin area. No crazy side curtain airbags, no weird cockpit routing and things like that. We just have full-blown visibility from the fin A pillars. Now, I don't know if you hear that. There's an odd beeping noise that this car gives off. I don't know what it's for. I would assume it's like a seatbelt sign type of deal, but you're on a racetrack. You should have your seatbelt on. So I'm not entirely sure what that is for. That first turn felt very good. I'm not gonna lie. I was getting a little suspect about having comfort softs on this car, especially with having 200 horsepower, but this car is handling phenomenally. Not a bad car at all out the box. It's lightweight. You're not really getting too much body roll, or weight transfer, I think is the better term for that. Let's flip it down. Get around this last corner. A little bit of understeer. We're going to cut the corner here. And opening lap was a 107. That is slow, but I'm pretty sure we can get something out of this thing. It's an odd looking car, let's be honest, but you can definitely tell it's a Skyline. They definitely did some evolutions with the generations as time went on, for sure. But yeah, this car definitely, it says it reeks of Skyline, but it's an awkward looking one if you're used to looking at some of the newer ones. Now 87. Trying to think what else was around that time. I guess there was the Mark III Supra was around that time. I think at that point it was called the Celica Supra. Could be wrong. Or Supra was its own name. going to go against like its competitors. I don't know if Honda had the NSX at that point. I don't think they did. I think that was an actual 90s car. So I guess this car probably would have been like a weird like Prelude Civic type of deal there. Or Ford, I don't know. What's happening at this point. I did notice something very particular about the spoiler on this car, on the left. If you actually get to look into the car, it says like Nissan Motorsport International. So I don't know when Nismo was actually founded, but this was probably before their time at Nismo. Kind of similar to like Mercedes and AMG. AMG was a outsourced tuning platform, and Mercedes didn't have their in-house ones yet. So that's why you had cars like the 2.316, 2.516. Those were their performance-oriented cars, but they just didn't have a cool designated name for them quite yet. Right. Don't know if this car's gonna have it in it to make a sub 105, but we shall see. 106.245. Let's just do one more lap. See if we can squeeze anything out of it. It might just be those, you know, the GT86s and all that just handled a lot better. I feel like I'm driving this car fairly well. I don't think it's driving terribly, and I feel like I'm giving it all it can take, but who knows? Let's see. This lap 4 can give us anything else. And then we'll hop into a fully modified version there. But yeah, this is an awesome car. This is a very good suggestion here. I would have totally missed out on driving this car, to be honest with you. I bought it when the patch came through, but aside from just buying it to have it as a, you know, in my collection, unless there was like a daily race or something that required you to drive this thing, I had no intentions of taking this thing out. So good call to give this thing a spin. Let's go ahead and right here. 104.801. I'll take it. That, like I said, that's a respectable lap time there for this vehicle for its performance point. And it's a boxy car. It's very 80s, early 90s, so definitely a period correct looking vehicle. Let's go to the ranking board. Where did that go? Looks like, yep, it looks like it slotted itself right behind the GT86s. So not a bad lap time. Again, it is a little bit heavier than the GT86s, but they put out just about the same power. So not too bad, pretty much on par. Let's go ahead and swap into the fully modified one. So we are now bumped up to 707 performance points. Let's go into the stats. No engine swaps here today. We are still using that same engine, so this is full bolt-on performance that we're talking about. 707 performance points, 443 horsepower, 320 foot-pounds of torque. We're now weighing down to 2,300 pounds with the ballast. I have it set to 50-50 front to the rear. We do have racing softs. Here are my alignment specs for the vehicle. Are they great? I make them work. I do want to not do that. It's just, I like natural frequency to be equal front and back. Here is the differential settings here. Transmission, here's my aero, ECU's full send. Here's the ballast positioning, all the forced induction, bolt-ons here, and you'll see all the other items off to the right when it comes to the weight reduction and the engine parts that have been installed. All right, so we are at 707 performance points. That is gunning in. It's on the lower end of the 800 performance point ranking board, but we'll still give her a shot. And that is absolutely nuts. The high end here is the Camaro SS that made 904 horsepower. I don't think we're going to be hitting that. The GR86 made 816 horsepower. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be an underdog story. I don't know if I don't know if it has a sub 1 minute in it. If that's the case, if 800 horsepower GR86 did a 50.9, I just don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Stock versus not has been. We've had some pretty crazy results in this in the past, I want to say. So let's see what we got going on. But before we start this lap, I figure we'll do a quick little walk around of what we got going on here. We got the nice little kind of what they call the web style wheels. I went kind of crazy with the roll cage, little yellow roll cage to give a pop of color. Car almost looks like an AE86 from the front a little bit, without the ones that did not have the pop-up headlights. It's a cool car, I'm not gonna lie. Tail lights are circular just like all the other Skylines. Big old muffler exhaust pipe in the back. Very cool looking car. From the side here, it gives off almost like an S13 type of vibe. Very similar in profile there. So yeah, of course I had to paint it in Bayside blue, because that is it really a Skyline if it doesn't come in Bayside blue? So let's go ahead and give this 400 horsepower. I'm not gonna call it a go-kart, because this thing handles like it's on rails, let's be quite honest. During my test drives, I did not feel any sort of issues getting this thing to scoot around. This car's fun. I don't like, yeah, 1,000 horsepower is great, but let's be honest, like 1,000 horsepower is not really usable in a real world application on a track unless you're, I don't even know if like Pikes Peak cars make 1,000 horsepower, but like 400 horsepower in a lightweight car, that's plenty. That is plenty of power to have fun, and you don't need any more than that. This car is absolute. Of course. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this moving. That was a 55.085, but of course we took a little bit of a detour there. It's a nice change to not have to brake at the 350 board with like the other GTRs we had from the past videos. This one brakes at an actual normal spot within the actual markers. I wonder if these R31s are still available to get. I feel like that's an awesome option. I don't know how reliable they are compared to the other, like the newer ones, like the R32s, but I think an R31, if it's set up like this in real life, I can get on board with it. This car is an absolute phenomenal thing to drive right now. Oop. A little too late on the brakes there, but we're fine. Let's get off the slippery stuff. Come on. It's fine. We'll do 5 laps of this thing. This thing's actually really enjoyable. I don't care if I'm absolutely destroying the brake markers. Turn-in is great with this setup. I don't have anything bad to say about the suspension there, so if you end up getting this car here in the game and you want to have a setup with it, even if you're staying like the lower power, this thing is, I think this suspension setup is actually not too bad for it. You might just have to tweak it to your driving style, but nah, this thing is, I think I got this thing fairly dialed in. And that's the nice thing about doing these, like, I've been actually getting a little better with doing these setups, and it's kind of correlated into like the daily races where they allow some tuning, or they call it tuning, it's suspension adjustment. I know a lot of the other YouTubers complain about having tuning adjustment, I keep saying that, They complain about having those suspension adjustment capabilities in some of those daily races. They just want to hop in a car and race, which I get it. But with this being a simulator, I feel like that's all part of the game. You know, like you're simulating a race, like an actual race application, so you should be able to understand differences in suspension geometry and whatnot. 53.506. Let's see what this fifth lap has for us. And we'll call it a day. I don't think this car is going to break any records, but if I had a separate leaderboard for fun factor, this thing I would say is now on the top. I can say that in full confidence. I've never had. It's been a while since I had this much fun ripping a street car in this game. And yeah, definitely going to use this for some sort of single player race that the game may need to play. I'm kind of working on those single player items to build up the credits so I can keep buying the cars for stock versus not and all the modifications. 52.725. Okay. Optimal would have been at 52.125. So yeah, we were pretty much on par there for that. Not a bad car at all. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, so it's gonna be at the bottom for sure. Is it not at the bottom? Where's it at? Does it not make the top 20? Oh man, how unfortunate. Oh wait, no, 700. Is it under 700? No, yeah, it doesn't even make the top 20. That is extremely unfortunate. So I guess there, we learned something new today. Leaderboards only go up to 20, so I'm sorry, Mr. Skyline GTS-R. You don't make it on the actual leaderboard, but like I said, if I had a leaderboard for fun factor, you've made it there. So yeah, that is today's video. Thanks again, Dave, for requesting it. Like I said, if you guys want me to do a specific car that is not in the brand central portion of Gran Turismo, I will do it as long as it's available to me. So, you know, as always, leave a like, comment, ask me to do something else. But this is the last Nissan, so that means we're moving back to the Americas. I believe Dodge is next on the list. So stay tuned while we drive some boats. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I'll catch you guys in the next one.